Take a look at this op-ed. I'll quote it for you. Biden's quiet attack on rural America smells just as bad as manure. Ooh. Congresswoman Ashley Hinson, Republican from Iowa, very much a farm state, with us this morning. Let's see, in what way is Biden hurting rural America?
The list is long, Stuart. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I'm a farmer and I've got a list too, so go ahead.
Right, and you look at just the overstep of this administration every single step of the way, whether it's their plan to get rid of stepped-up basis to hold back our farmers from being able to invest and pass on their land and their business to their next generation.
That's the estate tax change, right?
Right, so they were proposing that last Congress.
Yes, they've stepped up,
right,
so that passing the family farm along is much more difficult.
Right,
right,
right. And then you look at what my colleague just talked about with it stinks, right? The manure, it smells worse than manure. The EPA coming in to try to regulate every ounce of farmland under the Waters of the U.S. proposal.
Is that back?
It is back, and Congress tried to actually overwrite President Biden, and we passed it through the House and passed it through the Senate. He vetoed it. But basically, the EPA at this point, if you looked at the state of Iowa, they want to regulate every pond, ditch, water stream possible on farmland under the guise of conservation. But really, we know what it's about. It's about control, Stu.
Absolutely, it is. So, look, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I've got a bee on my bonnet on this one. Mm-hmm. I've got a farm, and if this Waters of the United States goes through, I will have to submit an Environmental Protection Agency report if I wish to move a rock, which is maybe 20 feet away from a stream.
Right.
I got to do that.
Right. You talk about the overstep and the administrative burden that puts on our farmers, who should be focused on feeding and fueling the world, not focused on filling out paperwork, right? We want farmers to be the best stewards of their land, and we know that they are. And all this does, again, is about someone who's sitting in a desk in Washington, D.C., a bureaucrat who's never stepped foot on a family farm, making those decisions for them.
Wouldn't be caught dead with mud on their boots. Okay, next one. We got a Fox poll. 46% think AI technology is a bad idea. Okay, we got that. That's the poll. Mm-hmm. There are calls for a pause in AI development. I think that's a bad idea. Because you don't know what the bad guys are doing over there in Beijing and Moscow in secret. What do you say?
We know China will use this against us as a weapon, and as a member of the Select Committee on China, we are doing everything we can to get this right. So I think what this calls for here in the United States, knowing that China will weaponize this against us for military, for cultural purposes, in our elections, we need to make sure we get this right. So it's a whole of society approach. It's government, it's our defense sector, it's our private sector, these tech companies that need to engage with us at the table. That's where those conversations should happen, so we can do this responsibly.
I want competition from private. I want Microsoft and Google to go at it.
Yeah,
I want them to compete. Yes, that's exactly what no pause in development. I want our guys, the good guys, to win.
Yes, and that's exactly where we should be headed, because we know this is a new frontier and it is scary, and it does face challenges to our country in terms of the culture and the social, you know, I guess the unknowns that go along with AI. And we should be concerned about that. But I think ultimately we need to unleash the private sector, but do it in a responsible way. So again, it's not weaponized against us, because you're right, Stu, the Chinese will use this against our military and against our society every step of the way.
Before you got into politics, I believe you were a TV news anchor.
Yeah, I know a thing or two about a studio.
See that prompter?
Pretty comfortable.
Do you miss it? No, do you miss TV?
You know, I was saying this earlier. I miss the people that I worked with, but I'm pretty happy where I'm at now. I got tired of talking about it and wanted to do something about it.
Or the wake-up call.
Yeah, the 2 a.m. alarm clock. Not great.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Ashley Hinson, thank you very much for being here. Glad you made it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.